Here's a short clip of how Miss Till originally was doing her assessment reviews using pencil and paper, having the students flip through PowerPoints, recording the information on the paper. It was very quiet, and this pretty much lasted the entire class.
Have you put the answers in? Let me see the answers. One person per table is going to be the host each time. So you will just sit there and watch your classmates play your blue kit. Okay? And then when that 5 minutes is up, we will shift to the left again. So by the time we're done with this, everybody at your table will have shared their blue kit, and you guys have played these review questions over and over and over. And our hope is when you are done, you will feel well prepared for your test.
Welcome back. This is our third video on the improve phase. And I'm sorry about my voice, but I've been losing it. I need Thanksgiving break to get here quickly. 2 days, yay. But we've went ahead and implemented the strategy that we talked about. And I guess, how's everything going so far with it? How do you feel like everything went?
I feel like we got a lot more engagement from the students, like a massive increase in engagement. But our assessment piece, not so great.
Okay.
And I think that's due to it being a change in the routine and the kids thinking that we were just having a free day to play on the computer and not taking it serious enough to realize, this is a grade. And I think that,
What'd you think?
I'm kind of like,
What'd you think of the technology in general?
I love the technology. And I think also with Blue Kit, what I have found out is that I have to change up the different types of games. Like I moved it around, and I had to make rules on some of the games.
Okay.
Like one of the games that we did, the gold chest or whatever, like I had to implement a rule like you're not allowed to yell across the room at somebody for stealing your coins, because it's very disruptive. They cannot handle that. So I have to set rules when we play that one.
Okay.
I have found that when I play the cafe game, they are much more quiet and they have to focus and concentrate more on how that operates. So I think that they pay more attention to the questions and the review from there than they do the other one, because it's not, while it is competitive, it's not as competitive as the gold coin thing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and I found too that I like the gold quest because it's a luck-based game.
Mm-hmm.
So your lower students have a chance to win sometimes.
Right.
But I like the other games because they're more strategy and competitive. Yeah. And so especially if you're working with an advanced class,
mm-hmm.
it's probably better to push them into those other games
yeah.
so that they have that challenge of competing. Right. When you watch the video, what really stood out to you?
What stood out to me was how focused they were, like on the task. They were on it. They were from their notes into what they were creating. They were super focused, which was a complete difference from what we had seen in our initial video, where they were just, writing down notes. It's kind of like almost lip service, if you will, just let me get this done. But they seemed very engaged with the task.
Oh yeah.
Much more engaged. I was very impressed with how well they did, and they enjoyed it. So that's when I feel like they felt like it wasn't work, but it really kind of was. So I always enjoy that.
Anyway, and I found that also when I was watching the videos, and when I was in here when you were doing it, the students were they were almost excited about, even making the questions. And then when they were actually playing, yeah, it was very, you could definitely feel the energy go way up when they did that. The third thing we're gonna talk about is based on our goals. So just really quickly, let's review our goals. And I have those here. We talked about moving from a 20% or 15 to 20% engagement to a 60% engagement. And we were gonna measure that through observation and then also through working with our peers goal, which was 60% of all students will increase in engagement based on their assessment that they took
Right.
after the Blue-Kit. So just thinking about that, we've looked at the data, we both looked at it and kind of go over what you saw there.
The eye test, observation as far as engagement, well over 60%, well over 60. I would go as far as like 90, 95.
Okay.
I mean, it was leaps and bounds. The assessment piece, not so much. It was not to my standards.
Yes.
We're about 28% of kids improved. Now, I will say 2 of our students were absent during the days that we were completing the activity. They had a classroom interruption. It was a school club thing. They were with a school group, a team or something like that. So they missed it, and it's 2 of our students who normally perform really well on assessments, and they made a 62 and a 44 respectively. And I think it's because they did miss the day where we were doing the creating and presenting the information to their table mates.
Okay. Saying about 28%. Now, if they got it, it would push it up to 32%, which is still well below where we were shooting for.
Yes.
What do you think might be the main reason for behind that?
Again, I think that the main reason is I don't think that they took the review as a resource to realize they were supposed to be retaining the material.
Okay.
I feel like they were like, oh, it's just gonna be fun. We're gonna be, especially once we brought them in and we put them at a table with someone they don't normally sit with. So at that point it was, oh, hey, I get to sit with this person that I normally don't get to sit with. And I don't know if like swapping it up like that was the smartest thing. Logistically, it was the best thing because we had 4 kids at each table where normally we don't have that. So logistically, it was what we had to do. But I think that they just got excited about sitting with a different set of people. And I think that they were like, we're just going to sit here and have fun. I shouldn't be working to remember all of this information. And they were playing Blue-Kits that the kids had made themselves over what they thought might be important information. I think that maybe in the future, perhaps I could offer them some leading questions versus, you need to have 3 questions from this section, 3 questions from this section, just kind of lead them toward where they need to be prepared for the assessment versus just giving them free reign over the notes and say, pick 3 questions, because some of them were picking like super simple, like DOK 1 and 2 stuff, like very rote, very basic, very simple stuff that was not going to help them prepare for the exam. But I wanted to give them the opportunity to do what they wanted to do as far as the creation aspect goes. But in the future, I could see me kind of leading them in a certain direction versus just letting them have a free-for-all, if that makes sense. Across the board, I think it was a success as far as getting them more involved in the classroom. What I would like to see with the 5th period or my gen ed class is their assessment scores go up as a result of using the technology to help them prepare.
Okay. Kind of like, where do we want to go from here? Kind of question.
Well, I've already used it in my other class, like in my ELA class. Okay. We've been using it to, it's been teacher prepared Blue-Kits to prepare them for assessments over a class novel. We take a quiz between 5 and 7 chapters. And we've used Blue-Kit the last 2 assessments. And those assessments have been phenomenal. They have done really, really well. We have also shared the technology and what I learned through this with our whole 6th grade ELA department. And the other teachers are also reporting that they are seeing improvements in the test scores as well. I'm letting them use it as a way to, I would like to see them use the Blue Kit as a way to study. We have vocabulary tests and social studies and using it in that way. I really want to focus on understanding this completely before I move on to something else.
Okay. One of our goals was to have the students create stuff on that side of it. So that was good, that they got to do that. But, and we did talk about that merge feature too. So we could try to take what they made and turn it into a much, and then add in our own,
Right.
our own stuff too.
Today, the kids took a vocabulary test, 24 terms in social studies. And yesterday, when we finished what we were working on, I asked them to work on creating their own Blue Kit with those 24 terms and the definitions. And I offered extra credit if they shared it with me, the completed Blue Kit. I had about 6 or 7 kids in the class turn one in. When we graded those assessments, the kids who had completed the Blue Kits as just get some extra credit points, scored markedly higher than the students who did not participate in creating the study guide or putting their study information into the Blue Kit.
And was this with your general education?
It was both classes.
Oh, both classes.
Both classes.
Okay. And you saw that across the
I
board?
saw it across the board.
Okay,
The kids
good.
who turned in the Blue Kits for extra credit, their scores, they were scoring 90s and above, and I was giving them a 10-point bonus for turning in, and I had multiple kids score over 100.
Okay, good, good.
And then I had some that didn't score so great, but the bonus points pushed them over. So it was a good thing that they did it, and that way they feel, they kind of feel validated with it. Like, hey, I did all this work, and this 10 points pushed me to where I passed this test, and so I did see some a lot of improvement on the vocabulary.
Okay. So thinking about our goal, let's go back to our goal of 60%. Like we did see some growth in the goal, right? It wasn't just like it's a flat line. But do you think with them knowing a little bit more about it, what would you see for, would you want to adjust the goal? Would you want to try this again in a similar way with a few tweaks, or to try to meet our goal, or do we want to change the goal, I guess?
I think the goal is fine. I would like to try it again, but like you said, like maybe use the merge and toss in a few of like teacher created questions so that they're not just so far off base with what they need to be focused on for the assessment. I think just handing in the notes and be like, make these Blue Kits is just a little too much freedom.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like it was just too broad for them for it to be effective. I see now that I should have narrowed it in and said, your questions need to be about population and location and, more specific type questions. So if I narrowed it down for them a little more, I think we would have seen a better result.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is keep the same goal. We'll stay with our 60%. We'll adjust the way that they get to, we'll still let them create questions and stuff, but when they send their links in, merge it with some teacher created questions so that the students are going to have a little bit more, rigor or challenge when they take the test, when they review. One thing I did want to kind of revisit from our previous video, we talked a little bit about like the kids, like we made this Google Doc, right? You made a Google Doc, you gave all the links to all the Blue Kits. Do you feel like the kids use that at all?
Probably not. I'm going to be honest with you. They probably didn't, and I don't have a way to police it. But it was provided to all of them in both classes. I did it Gen Ed and Advanced Content. The advanced content probably had a few kids that went in and did it. But again, there's no way for me to police who did it. I don't know if there's any technology where we can put like a password on it for them to access it. Or I guess I probably could have put a read receipt on the email to see who at least opened the email to see the links. I guess that might have been an option that I didn't even think about, but it was provided. Can't guarantee they opened it.
Yeah, well,
It's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Probably not.
probably not. Yeah, we're survival mode. Let's keep the same goal. We'll make the tweaks you talked about with trying to get them to where they're showing a little more improvement, and then we will retry this when your next unit test. We meet back kind of in after Thanksgiving and kind of see where we're at as far as like when we'd like to try it again and set a specific time when you know a little bit more of your time frame and stuff for that. Other than that, I think do you have any other thoughts or questions about the technology or just in general?
We're actually enjoying it. We're enjoying it. They get, when I say, like yesterday when I said, I want you to create a blue kit with these vocabulary words, they were excited to get their computers out and start creating. Like I'll hear them when I say it and they're like, yes.
Oh, yeah,
And they'll flip those computers out and they'll start working on it. And even today, when we were getting ready, we gave them about 10 or 15 minutes before the test. A few kids who had done it for extra credit, I saw them with their computers turned around pointing to their code. So there were kids all over the room, like playing, the student that sits here at this table playing his blue kit as a review. He made 106 on the test.
Oh, wow.
So
that is awesome.
He made 106. So apparently I feel like it helped him a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I saw how excited they were, and I think you did a really good job of like running with the technology and just like giving them a lot of direction and I thought they did a really good job of using it and creating. They did do a good job with all that. Just the results didn't.
Right. They've just got to realize the purpose.
There. Right.
The purpose. It's not.
It's not to play the game.
It's not for us to have free time. They are supposed to be learning, and that's a 6th grade thing anyway. That's
yes.
We've been doing 6th grade a long time.
That's true.
I think it's a 6th grade issue. I mean, it might be a middle school issue for all I know. I mean,
okay. Well, I thank you so much for volunteering to let me coach you, and this is our final video for this. So we're out.